Hi everybody, so today we have a foundation review for the new reformulated MAC powder formulation. So this one is the Studio Fix Powder Plus and it's recently been reformulated. I didn't try it before so I can't actually tell you if it's better than before, but I can tell you how I'm getting on with it now and my interesting shade match. And I've also finally picked up one of the nude eyeshadow quads from, or quints rather, isn't it, from Prada. So this one is Peony. And I've got two new lip products to show you from MAC. So this is a new lip gloss and this is the new plumper. So I've heard this one stings, so that should be interesting. And I've also got a really fabulous blush actually from Laura Geller. So this is Cherry Custard, a baked blush, which I can't wait to show you. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, review the products for you, do tests like today with the foundation, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe. Lots of people tuning in at the moment don't subscribe, so if you could, it would really be ever so helpful to me. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. And my skin tone, for matching it with everything I'll be trying today now, I have fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that can lean a bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get straight into this video. Let's start straight away with the MAC foundation. So I've got the McGrath new Divine Rose Cream on, which is why I'm looking super glowy, and I've actually been getting on very well with this. I've worn it nearly every day since I got it. I've been using it as a primer. It's very moisturising and it's the sort of base I love to have underneath a powder foundation. I want plenty of moisture before I go in and also quite a lot of glow because the powder is going to really take away the glow, so it's nice if a little bit of it peeks through. So that's how I like to start my powder foundations, and I've tested them and they work well together. And here is the MAC, the packaging. I believe this one is refillable, so you can pop it out, this section here in the middle. I haven't actually tried it yet. Oh, there we go, it just slides out there, look. And it does say on the website that the refills will be in stock soon. So when you're watching this, they might already be in stock. If not, they will be in stock soon. So that's good. I'm saving a bit of money. Get it back in the right way now. There we go. Just slides back in. So it does come with a puff in the base, which is useful, I think, for top-ups if you're using it more as a sort of setting powder, because this does double up as a setting powder and as a foundation. So it's got the mirror there, so it's good packaging. It's not very heavy or very fancy, but it's practical and it works. And it's also got these air gaps in the bottom there, which I think is very good because that does stop things from getting a bit grimy and also keeps it a bit more less likely to smell, is basically what I'm trying to say, when you've got the puff. So I do think that's very good. They've added that into the packaging. So this was £34. It says a one-step 2-in-1 refillable, as I've already told you, and this should give you 24-hour oil control in 78 shades. 78. Made to suit every skin tone and type. Find your closest match yet. I'm not going to put pictures up of all of the shades because there are 78. I think it's better to definitely go on the website and have a look at these if you're interested. And this has been remastered with a blur matte finish and breathable lightweight formula with a silky talc-free texture that gives a flawless filtered matte finish, delivering medium to full buildable coverage whilst also being sweat and humidity resistant. Now, because there's been this huge increase in shades, it could mean that your existing shade could change. So I did actually go on there and put in some of the cool toned foundations that work for me on their matcher, and they've recommended this shade to me, which I've never got before. This is N4.5, I believe. I'm trying to read it, yeah. And N4 was actually the one that worked really well for me, but it said to go for the N4.5. So because it matched it with the cool tone ones I put in, I got it. But I have to say, I don't think it's as good as N4 Liquid on me. N4 Liquid seems to be the perfect match for me, but N4.5 in the powder anyway, you'll see now it's a bit too yellow for me, but anyway. So all of the things we've said about this, I'm just seeing if there's any other promises. Fade resistant, non-caking, non-creasing. immediately reduces the appearance of pores, so we'll see that now, seeing as they are shining and very visible around here at the moment. And then the ingredients list, which is talc free, but I will pop up the full ingredients list, which is rather long, but anyway, I'll pop it on the screen for you. So I've been trying this out over the last few days. I've tried it with a puff, I've tried it with my BK Beauty 105, which is my favourite brush for using with powdered foundation, but I'm finding that this applies too much for me, especially because the shade is a little bit too warm. So here is the shade. You can see it's ever so slightly yellow. So it isn't my shade match, so I'm going to have to go back and maybe try again at some point. But probably the brush that's worked the best for me is a more fluffy brush. So I got my Chikuhodo powder brush. So this one is a lot less dense and it just picks up a lot less product. So that's what I'm going to do today, is apply it in a very light way. So I'll just literally swirl around and just start by patting it, because I've got quite a creamy base. I wouldn't want to swirl around on my face, not until everything has gone on. So this will give me a very light coverage, and then if I want to go in for a stronger coverage, I can use the BK Beauty brush, or I could use a puff or the one provided. Can you see the warmth that is bringing to my skin straight away? And that's why I can't really afford to go for the full coverage, because it just becomes too much warmth. And I don't have any tan on at the moment, so it just looks way too warm on me. I need something a lot lighter. But I have tried this using the dense brush, and it has given me, I wouldn't say full, I'd say in between medium to full coverage, but it's just way too much. So I do need to limit the amount I'm using. So that is playing a big role in the application. But I do think this sort of light fluffy brush gives you quite a natural application. And for me, I don't actually like to have full coverage, so it's given me the level of coverage I quite like. I haven't tried to set under the eyes with this, but this colour is just not right for me for that anyway, so I wouldn't be able to do that. Before I continue with that side, let's just look at this side with the foundation. I still have quite a bit of redness on my nose, so I will take a bit more before I finish this side actually, and just pat a bit more in there. What I have found with this is it's virtually, apart from the colour, undetectable. I can't really feel it, I don't really see it, so for a powder that's very good. And here are all the pores that are quite visible on that side of the face there, and you can see they are quite blurred. I wouldn't say very blurred, I'd say quite blurred. But that's how it looks, quite natural. It doesn't really look like I'm wearing makeup if you exclude the colour change. Yeah, so that's covered the redness. So there's the one side done. And then this side not done. So I'll go on to do the other side now. I've actually dug out my N4 in the MAC Studio Fix, so I can show you just how much difference there is between the two of these. This one works really well on me. And here is the powder in N4.5. I don't know if it's just because it's a powder, because they don't look massively different when I swatch them side by side. Just when the Studio Fix blends into my skin, it just seems to work really nicely for me. There it is there. Whereas this one seems to leave a bit of a yellow tint, which I think is quite obvious. I do look a bit like I've put tan on my face now rather than just foundation, if you look at how sort of warm and brown my face looks compared to, say, my neck there where I've got no powder on at all. So it's definitely the wrong shade, but the coverage is beautiful. So I do need to find the right shade, and I need to go down a few by the looks of it. In fact, I don't even think N4 would be okay. I think I'd have to go lower. So I do need to maybe go back and get a better match, because I do think this is a fabulous formula. It goes on really easily, very lightweight, feels silky soft, and you can see that glow still coming through there from my primer, the Pat McGrath Divine Rose. I really like that. I just hate the colour. I think I need to change the colour. Well, I know I do. I haven't gone under the eyes with it to test it, like I said, because it would look quite wild, I think. So I'm going to use my Givenchy Satin Powder, but I'm going for the deepest of the three I've got. So this one is shade 3, which normally I use for the face, not under the eyes. But today I'm going to use this one, because I think if I go for the lightest one today, it's going to stand out a little bit too much against this foundation. And I think what I might do is pop a little bit into all the places that I want to brighten a bit, because it's like the foundations almost work like a bronzer on me. So I'm just trying to slightly balance up the colour by using this powder to do that and give me a little bit more brightness. So I do apologise for not being able to show you this with the correct shade, because it doesn't show the foundation off quite as well as it could. I think if I had the correct shade, you'd probably be saying, oh, that looks really good on you, but obviously there's an issue with the shade which does really affect the finish. But it's the formula and the way it sits which is what's most important once you've got your shade match. So I would be very careful. If you can get a match in store for this, I would do that, because I did put in some of the foundation shades that worked brilliantly on me, and it still matched me with this, which is why I did think it would be fine. But anyway, but that's the final look with the foundation on both sides. And this also has great longevity. I filmed a video last night actually to show you longevity, so I will play that for you at the end, because you can see also the blush and how that's worn on me, which I'll be doing next. So I'm not really going to go in much now with bronzer. I think I'll just use a tiny amount. I've actually got my Nudegasm sitting here, having reviewed this week. So I'm going to take the sort of contour cool shade, and again hoping this might just cool my face down a little. I use this just as a bronzer today. I won't even mix with the deeper shade. Also, my Charlotte Tilbury brush came, the new contour brush. Look at the shape on this brush for contouring. So I'm going to use this powder now and contour down the side of the nose with it. It's very dense, this brush. I always use quite a fine brush. I usually use the Nikki LaRose brush, the I always forget which one, N16. And if you look at this, very, very different tips. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the contour brush, because it sort of delivers the product quite heavily, even though this powder from Nudegasm is really light, because it's that gel sort of cream powder. If I was using a different bronzer, I think I'd get into quite a lot of trouble with the amount I pick up with this. But I haven't tried it yet with cream contour, which is how I usually contour, so I'm not going to rule it out yet. It might be very good for that. But it's certainly the right sort of shape for going down the contour line. And under the lips it works quite well. Do you know what I'm going to do though, before I move on to the blush, which I'll be showing you next? I'm just getting my Sonia G Buffer Pro. I'm going to go into this satin powder here from Charlotte Tilbury. This came with the, what's it called? The Pillow Talk Flawless Pink. And I love this pink powder. I'm going to literally buff over here to try and calm down this overly tanned look I've got. I think that helped a bit. So now I'm going to go on to this blush. So this blush drew me in straight away when I saw it advertised, because it is called Cherry Custard, and look at it. It just, I realised I'm very drawn to things when they're described in fragrances or foods that I love. I'm definitely, like if they invented a blush and called it rhubarb and custard, for instance, one of my favourite fragrances, one of my favourite things to eat, and rhubarb shade I love, I would buy it straight away based on the rhubarb and custard description. And Cherry Custard, I was very, very, very drawn to that from the name, but also look at it, it is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? So if you're not familiar with these are the baked formula, handcrafted in Italy. And the full name of this is Blush-n-Brighten Marbleized Blush, oh dear me. And this is described as a warm rose and bright pink. So this has a creamy texture, a weightless feel, self-adjusting pigments, which I don't really entirely know how that works, antioxidant enriched, and is award-winning as well. So at the moment, at the time of putting this video out, there's actually a sale on the Laura Geller website. So if you want to go on there, this is currently reduced to £17, even though it's brand new, and it's normally £30. But I don't think the sale is going to last very long, so I don't know if that sale will be still on even when this goes out. So I'm just quickly telling you that in case it's still on. But I didn't get it in sale. I picked mine up from QVC because I thought that was the quickest way to get it. But Laura Geller has all of them on her website, so it's probably the better way of doing it. Anyway, let me give you a swatch of this. It's quite powdery, so you pick up quite a bit on the surface, which means you have to be careful. But look at this shade, look at it. This is the sort of shade I think so many of us just really, really dream of, that glowy, beautiful finish. So it's a satin finish, so it's got that very lovely glow without any sparkle. Isn't it beautiful? But it is very, very, very pigmented, so I need to be very careful with this one. So I'm trying to think what I did try it with my I'll go in with my Refa brush. The only problem with the Refa brush that I love so much is it tends to pick up quite a lot of product, and when it's quite pigmented like that, it can be a little bit of a disaster. So I think the best way for me to handle this one is to go across just once. Look at that. Look how much that has picked up. And then start brushing it into the back of my hand to take off quite a lot. I mean, look how much that's put on my hand. And now take it onto the face. So obviously if you're a darker complexion to me and won't have to be quite as cautious. But yesterday I applied it, which you'll see in my check-in video, how by the end of the day it was still there, but I put on way too much and I couldn't even calm it down with a powder because I put on way too much. So just buff it off a little bit on the back of the hand. Look at that, isn't it stunning? It goes on so beautifully. It just, that you cannot see the edges, you can't see where it starts and finishes. It just is beautiful, beautiful formula. I love it, and I love this colour. I do think it's quite deep for my complexion, but I can just about get away with it with this light application. I can't even afford to go back in because that would be too much. It's so rich. So for the other side, doing exactly the same, tapping off, going into the back of my hand, and then taking it onto the cheek. I'm connecting it a little bit with the eye. My eyeshadow look will hopefully pull that together at the end. I'm going to go back in with my Charlotte Tilbury powder, just a tiny bit around the edges because of how deep this is on my complexion. Just a tiny bit. I love using this powder for that. You can see me whizzing through this powder, you know. Charlotte needs to launch these powders as individual products. I really hope that's coming next. So there is Cherry Custard. Isn't it beautiful? I love it, I love it. I want to go back and get more. There's such a huge range of these blushes. You can get them in mattes and this satin finish. And the packaging here, you do get a mirror here on the one half, and then the top half is clear, so you can see which one it is. So I think the packaging is quite clever on these as well. And they're not talked about much at all online, so definitely worth giving this one a go and maybe trying other shades. I'm going to just quickly put on one of the MAC lip products because I'm going to finish, I think, with the gloss. So we're going to see what this plumping scary one is like, I think, first. So I'll put this on now. This is the MAC Lip Gloss Blow Plumping Oil, which is £24. And this says it delivers glass blown shine in a non-sticky, visibly volumizing glide, which features 1% ginger root extract, which is the ginger root, which you can slightly smell, that's going to give me that plumped effect, I believe. So there's nothing on my lips whatsoever right now. It's quite a pleasant smell, that ginger, you know. I really like that. So I'm going to give this time whilst I do my eyeshadow so we can see if my lips plump. Very, very hydrating. Very nice, actually. I'll just show you the doe foot a bit closer up. You can see it's got that sort of bobble on it so you can fit it into the lip. Oh, that's really nice. I really like the feel of that. Currently, there's no burning. It just feels quite refreshing and very hydrating. I don't know if there's something... Wait a minute. I was going to say, is there something wrong? Because I don't feel any tingling. I've got a little bit on my tongue and I can feel the tingling on my tongue. I don't know if any of you have ginger. I take ginger shots every morning, actually, and it's so fiery. You feel it really burn your tongue, and then as you swallow it, you really feel the heat off the ginger. So maybe that's what I'm feeling on my tongue, but it's very mild. Nothing like the ginger shots I take. It's starting to kick in a bit more. Anyway, let's give it time whilst I try this Prada eyeshadow. So I'm a bit late to the party trying these. They were so late to launch here in the UK. I was going to skip them and then I saw them reduced on Look Fantastic. So at the time of uploading this, they are 15% off, and the price of this, it's normally $65, so I paid $55.23, and I've picked up the lightest of the three options. This one is Peony. So it says that every single one in here is actually a different formula. So it says that you have a satin, a soft matte, a hyper matte, and a matte foil. So the foil in this one must be the pink. But as for which one is the hyper matte, soft matte, and satin, I don't really know. I know from swatching it, they all gave quite a sort of silky satin finish. I'm not expecting this one to show up very much. It's obviously extremely light, but it's the only colour story that I thought would work for me and that I liked. So I've got to be honest, I wasn't that excited by the look of these. I've just heard so many people rave about them, and I did like some of the more colourful Prada ones that launched with their first release, so I thought I will try it because I've just heard so many people saying they love them. So let's just do a quick swatch on the back of my hand. And this formula here, this one feels almost like setting powder. So I don't know if this is, well, it's a matte. It says these are developed using a low pressure injection process with micropixel pigments, which is the brand's eyeshadow formula that's trademarked to them apparently. Creamy powder consistency, providing weightless wear with no fallout or flaking. And then it says it's got Plucanitia volubilis oil, never heard of that one, which helps to nourish the delicate eyelids and protect against creasing. And it's got the travel friendly compact, which we can see. That's the information it gives about this one. So yeah, this one has a sort of setting powder, very powdery feel, and then this one has a more creamy, I'd say, creamy finish. They do feel really nice as I'm swatching them, they really do. Beautiful formulas, and they're made in France, these, they're not Italian I believe. And then this one is less silky compared to this one. So that's the silkiest, that's the most powdery, but there's not a massive difference. So there's that one. And then this one, which must be the matte foil. Again, silk, it feels like silk. Silky satin maybe, but it's too light to be a satin. Quite a strange formula, you know, it's hard to put your finger on it. But anyway, this is how the four of them swatch on the back of my hand. So very, very light. They swatch beautifully, very evenly. Lovely, lovely formula, but not expecting much in the way of payoff. So this is going to be quite a simple look, I think. So I'm going to start maybe with this one here and use my Victoria Beckham fluffy brush and just take this straight onto the lid. Lay this down as my transition shade. Definitely seeing that though, it's not my skin colour by any means. That's a very nice transition shade and it's going on so quickly and so easily. That is the thing with the Prada ones that everyone's raving about, isn't it? Is these formulas. Quite interesting that they're made in France if the formulas are considered to be one of the best out at the moment, so that's good. Doesn't have to be from Italy to be the best. That is beautiful actually, isn't it? Gosh, that goes on so well. That would be nice as a one and done shade as well, I think. I really like that shade. I love the way it applied. It feels really creamy, but I'm not even going to bother tapping off because the brush is picking it up without any sort of fallout, so I don't think I need to tap off. My lips, by the way, are definitely tingling more, but they don't burn at all. So I don't find this formula burny. Some people do, I know, but I don't. But I often find this whenever a product, when people say it's really bad on the lips, it doesn't bother me at all. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask about lip products burning or hurting because they really just don't seem to affect me much at all. Quite surprised at how much that has shown up. The way it's swatched on my hand, I didn't expect to see it that much on me. Isn't that beautiful? What a gorgeous shade. I really like that. Oh, that's lovely. I'll take the Wayne Goss number 6 in the same shade And now run this underneath. Now this palette did look quite cool toned, probably the most cool toned option for me, but this shade I've just put on is not cool toned by any means. It's definitely quite warm, I'd say. I'm not unhappy with that because I'm happy to try warm and cool. And certainly today with this foundation and the blush I'm wearing, I could do with a bit of warmth, I suppose, to match up. So now I'm going to take the Wayne Goss number 6 and go into the darker shade, or the brownie shade. This is the one that's the softest out of all of them. So let's see what sort of payoff I get from that. Now it's not really a deeper shade, so it's not really going to deepen up very much, but it might just blend together in a nice way, hopefully. Just for a little bit of dimension. Yeah, it does. It does build quite nicely onto that shade, very soft. So if you love a very easy eyeshadow application, so you're into things like Dior and Chanel, and the Lancôme, actually, I'd say that's similar. Very, very easy. You don't really have to think about it and you can just throw it on for work or quickly. These formulas are perfect for that. You will not be spending time blending and panicking about having to over blend and get it right. These are just going to go on in a flash. And so far, both shades I've put on would both work really well as one and dones for a quick and easy shade on the eye. Pretty mature skin friendly, although I do think as I layer this one, I'm starting to see a bit of texture, a little bit more than I would like. So it's okay on mature skin. I wouldn't say it's brilliant, it's just okay. So I can definitely see lines there that I don't always see emphasised. Still, I'm not unhappy. And I'll run that same shade with the number 7 underneath, but stop so they match up either side, top and bottom I mean. And now I'm going to go in with this pink. I'm going to use my finger to try and get maximum impact. And I'm taking this over the whole of the lid. Oh, isn't that pretty? Very, very subtle though. Very soft and subtle. Not giving full coverage, but it works enough as a standalone, I think. So it's not translucent enough to be a topper, but it's also not full coverage. It's sort of in the middle. Very, very pretty, isn't it? But it does look a little bit powdery and line emphasising, which I didn't get with the recent Dior, the new Dior launch, their creamy formula. So I don't think it's quite as good as that. And I don't think it's as good as the new Lancôme eyeshadow palette, the Cafe Crush, in terms of mature skin. So I just don't think that formula is massively complementary. So the lines in my eyelids don't show up a lot usually, and they usually go on quite smoothly, but I definitely feel like the lines in my eyes are showing up more than usual, which is a shame. Not enough to put me off it and not buy another one though. I still think it's gorgeous and I still think the formulas are beautiful, but I think this tells me that the next time I buy from Prada, it's got to be a colour story that absolutely screams buy me, because this is not as complimentary. My number one at the moment would be Tom Ford. It's definitely nowhere near as good as that, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love this, but for me, no way is that as good as Tom Ford. No way. Incredibly easy though, and still very beautiful. If I gave Tom Ford 10 out of 10, which I do, I think I'd be giving this 7 out of 10. And I'm not being mean there. I'd be giving the Lancôme, because Tom Ford's Tom Ford, I'd be giving the Lancôme 9.5, let's say, and the new Dior 9, this 7. That's where I would place that. In other words, I wouldn't be saying rush out and buy it actually, but anyway. Let's go in with this lightest one now, which was the most powdery, so I will tap off. Can you see this powder coming? Definitely needs tapping off, that one. I'll take that in the inner corner. Works quite well actually in the inner corner there. Works very well. And this one is more smoothing. So this is the only shade I think that's less likely to show up lines, but it's the one that I'm not likely to be using on the lid, which is a shame. So just popping a little bit there to brighten under the brow. And this shade is also perfect if you just want to tidy up the outer section and give yourself more of a perfect line there. So there we go, that is my look with the Prada Peony. Very pretty, very pretty, very, very, very easy to use. Just not massively wowing me. I will go in with a brown liner. I'm still using all the time this one since I got it from Charlotte Tilbury, the Duo liner. So I've already got this in the waterline. So I'll put my brown liner on, put some brown mascara on, and I'll be back to finish with the lip gloss. I will take this off, so before I leave, let's just look one more time at whether or not this has plumped my lips. I don't think my lips look any different. I think they look hydrated. Did they look more plumped? I don't think so, but very comfortable. Very high. It's actually a beautiful formula, a really, really nice formula. So it would work as a nice topper shade, but anyway, it's coming off so we can see the gloss. So I've gone in with my eyeliner and mascara, and that is how the Prada eyeshadow is looking. It is absolutely gorgeous actually. I do like the finished look, and I love the subtle, easy sort of application and the subtle finish. So very pretty everyday sort of eyeshadow. Very, very easy to apply. I just wish it looked a little bit more mature skin friendly. But anyway, it's not a disaster, but it is a little bit less friendly than others I've tried. So let's finish the look now using this new gloss from MAC. This is the MAC Lip Gloss Air Non-Sticky Gloss, and I've got this in the shade Snobbish, which is a bubblegum pink. This one is £23. I love the packaging actually. I think it's really pretty, very eye-catching. It's got a very sweet fragrance. It's very pleasant actually, really nice fragrance. I'm not really seeing much in the form of pigment with this. It's quite a creamy colour. A nice sort of thick hydrating formula, but not thick in a sticky or gloopy way by any means. I like the way it looks quite milky. I do love sort of milky finishes. This is perfect for every day, perfect for keeping in your bag and topping up throughout the day as an alternative to lip balm. Giving you the same hydration as a lip balm, but giving you that shine, that tiny bit of pigment, that little pop of pink. That's actually very, very pretty. Very impressed with this and the other one I tried. The formulas are both exceptional actually. I think it just seems to be the way at the moment. Every brand that's coming out with lip glosses and these sorts of maximizers or lip enhancers, they all seem to have very nice finishes. I don't think I've tested one I haven't liked for a while. This one, I'd say I like it in the same way that I really like the new Armani. Very creamy and very comfortable. Beautiful. So that is the end of my review. So looking back on everything, we started this review with the MAC foundation. Formula wise, I'd give this 10 out of 10. And I haven't showed you my check-in video, so I'll do that now. It's not the best check-in video I've ever done, but it is a check-in, so you can see how this looks by the end of the day. So here's the check-in video. So I'm sitting in my lounge at around, well, nearly midnight now, and I've just remembered I didn't film a check-in for the foundation, for the MAC powder foundation. Alfie's sitting here next to me getting very fed up because he wants to go to bed. So this isn't the best check-in video I've ever done for you, but hopefully I've got a light next to me which I've just changed the colour of, so hopefully you can see. So you can see that I don't have an awful lot of oils coming through. I do think that you can see pink on my chin where it's completely vanished, but I didn't use any sort of setting spray today, and when I did this yesterday I used a setting spray and it did last. I'm actually wearing the same blush in this video that I'm using in the video today, so you can see that the blush has lasted really, really well. And in fact it looks a bit too much blush on that side in this light, but anyway, Overall, I think that the finish, considering this is midnight, so it's been probably 11 hours maybe, no, 12 hours, I think it was about midday that I did my makeup. It's looking good. It's not, you can see around my nose there's a bit of redness. And on my chin, but certainly not breaking up in a cakey way that a cream foundation can. I think for the end of the day, that's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it actually. So there we go. That's my least organised check-in video for you, but hopefully that'll help. So you can see from that it pretty much lasted right till the end of the day, just a little bit of wearing off maybe here, but I didn't use any setting spray, which I think does definitely make a difference. But otherwise, I think that this is very, apart from the shade, which I need to change, I think this is very good. I think it's almost invisible. It hardly look like you're wearing makeup if you get the right shade. And it's got great longevity. It's definitely not cakey at all. It is smoothing. It's quite a natural finish. I really like it very, very much. And it's also very affordable, especially now that we'll be able to get refills to go in here. So I think it's 100% worth picking up. And I have heard from others who love the original that this is as good as, if not better than the original. I've heard. I don't know, so don't quote me, but I have heard. So definitely worth picking up the right shade for me, because I do really like that one. And then we had the blush from Laura Geller, which I think is beautiful. I definitely want to try more from Laura Geller. I do have a couple actually somewhere in my collection. I have a few of those face palettes with different shades. So I do know the formula is beautiful, but this colour in particular is a colour I think a lot of people would absolutely love. So I think this needs to be shown all over the place and shouted about because it's gorgeous. I love it. Just apply very carefully if you've got my skin tone, but as long as you're careful and you tap off on the brush, it works brilliantly. And you could see there from my check-in video, I applied too much yesterday, but it lasted till the very, very end of the day with no setting spray. So very good. And then both the lip products we've seen, I really, really like. I don't really need to go over those again because I've just this second talked about them. And we had this Prada eyeshadow, which I like. I'm just not going to say I love. I'm glad I didn't pay full price for it. And I'm very glad now I didn't review them and buy all three, in all honesty, because I like it, but I'm not going to rave about it. And I'm a bit surprised because everyone seems to be raving about these. But I do think the formula is nice. I can't get it open. I think that this one was, my two favourite formulas would have been this one and this one. I thought this one, sorry, my dogs are barking. This one is a beautiful formula, better for mature skin. This one is my favourite out of all of them, which is a bit of a surprise, but I think that's a gorgeous one and done shade, and I love the colour of it. You can just see it there above my eye. I think it's a beautiful shade. This one is probably my least favourite out of all the formulas, the less silky, and it definitely was emphasising my texture a little bit. And this one here doesn't give quite the amount of impact I like from a shimmery finish. It's not a proper shimmer. It's that, I've forgotten what it's called now. I did say it's that very unique name, isn't it? Meta Foil, I think it said. So very, very silky, but not very shiny, but not very complimentary on mature skin. So that almost ruined it for me, this whole thing. I think if we'd have had a different finish and a bit more shimmer, then I would have really been raving about it, because I do love the way it looks everywhere else. But I think what really made it was adding the brown mascara from Charlotte Tilbury, brown eyeliner from Charlotte Tilbury. And I'm also using the Lancôme IDÅLE in brown mascara, if you're wondering. But anyway, it was okay. I'm not inclined to buy another one unless they have a colour story that absolutely screams my name. I don't personally think they're worth the spend. I would rather spend it on Tom Ford or Dior or Chanel, in all honesty. But anyway, that's my opinion, and it might be a very unpopular one because I know they're so popular. But anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and if you have, please do hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you here joining me on my channel. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so very much for returning and being right at the end of another one of my reviews. It really does mean the world to me. And I do hope to see you all again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye!